morning, friends. Today we are going to talk about pulmonary circulation and hypertension. So let's start. Pulmonary circulation. Circulation. What does it mean? Pulmonary vascular circulation, right? So what is pulmonary vascular circulation? The blood supply to the lungs. So there is a change, there is a difference between lungs supply to, blood supply to lungs and blood supply to tissues. There is lungs and there is tissues. It's a total different story. Actually, the curve for this two is like this. Lungs curve is like this and tissues curve is like this. We'll study what this is. Here we denote blood flow and here we denote PaO2, partial pressure of arterial partial pressure of oxygen. So it's a completely different story. This curve is lungs, this curve is tissues, or let's say a systemic tissues or whatever. So there is tissues and there is lung. Okay, let's see what is the different story between them, and then you will understand the graph very easily. So it's basically to understand this graph and understanding the concept between it. So let's say if there is a hypoxic area in the lungs, then the vascular supply, the blood vessel supply will be constricted. Normally in all of the tissues, if there is some oxygen deficiency, if there is hypoxia, what is hypoxia called? What is hypoxia means? Oxygen supply to the lungs, oxygen supply to the tissue is decreased. That's what hypoxia means. So if there is some hypoxia or if there is a decrease in PaO2, then what do? We dilate the blood vessel, we increase the blood supply. So if we are increasing the blood supply, we are vasodilating, we are increasing the blood supply, there is a lot of blood supply. That means a lot of RBC is coming with this oxygen and giving that area, we are providing that area with oxygen, right? So that's what happens normally in every tissue. Like tissues are very kind-hearted. If we see any decrease in PaO2, we are like, okay, let me give you O2. But lungs are not like that. Lungs is a very, they are VIP people. They don't allow, if you have hypoxia, they don't allow you to the party. So see, if the place is perfectly okay, if the place is well ventilated, if there is enough PaO2, then that area will be provided with the blood supply. But if the area is hypoxic, then that area will not be provided with the blood supply because it's very critical organ. It's VIP organ. Understand? Lungs are not like any other tissues. They allow you only if you are not hypoxic. If you are hypoxic, then you are not allowed. You cannot get the blood supply. There is vasoconstriction happening. But what is the problem with this? Actually, this is good, right? Only then we'll get enough gas exchange. If we don't want to waste the perfusion. We don't want to give some hypoxic area with the perfusion and waste the perfusion. We are providing perfusion only to areas which are well ventilated, not poorly ventilated. So that's there. But thing is that if we are finding many places with hypoxia, we have diffused hypoxia. At that time the whole vasoconstriction will happen. There will be what? Chronic vasoconstriction. Chronic vasoconstriction. If that happens, what will happen? We know the blood supply to the lungs is by pulmonary artery, right? So there will be pulmonary artery hypertension. Pulmonary hypertension will happen. And then if that happens, we know that pressure inside the pulmonary artery comes from right ventricle. So there will be pressure increase in the right ventricle. That means there may, it will result into maybe right ventricular hypertrophy. What is right ventricular hypertrophy? The muscles are being hypertrophied, right? Yeah. So right ventricular hypertrophy can happen, or maybe the right heart will be failed. What is right heart failure alone? Not whole heart, only right heart. What is right heart failure called? Cor pulmonale. By heart this word. It's important. Cor pulmonale. It's like ABCD. Cor pulmonale is the right heart failure. So if we are having chronic vasoconstriction, it can lead into pulmonary artery hypertension or pulmonary hypertension. Maybe right ventricular hypertrophy. Maybe cor pulmonale. Understood? So these are the adverse effects of chronic vasoconstriction. Now we understood. If we are having enough PaO2, then we will give blood supply. Then we will increase the blood flow. This is blood flow. We will increase the blood flow. But if there is hypoxia, there is decreasing in PaO2, what do? We decrease the blood flow by vasoconstriction. And in tissues, if there is decrease in PaO2, if there is decrease in PaO2, we will increase the blood flow because we need O2. So we increase that blood flow. And if there is there is enough oxygen, PaO2, there is enough PaO2, what do? We decrease the blood flow because we don't want to increase the blood flow because there is enough PaO2. Understood? So that's very easy to understand. Now we'll be dealing with the diffusion. Let's check into diffusion. Diffusion. What is diffusion? The gas exchange between alveoli and blood vessel undergo by diffusion, right? So in diffusion will be equal to, there is a formula. First we are doing with a constant, diffusion constant, let's say diffusion coefficient, into area. We know if area increases, area for diffusion increases, then diffusion increases, right? So it's same thing with if you are considering the intestine. Let's say there is villi. Villi increases the area for absorption, right? So if there is increased area for absorption, there is more absorption. Same way, if area increases, the diffusion increases. And the area is provided by what? It is provided by the alveoli. So if alveoli is more, that means area is more. So there is more area, there is more diffusion. But if thickness is increased, there is a lot of place to cover to reach this blood vessel, right? So if thickness is increased, then it's difficult to diffuse. So thickness is increased, diffusion is decreased, right? And one more thing, it depends is pressure difference, P1 minus P2. If there is a greater pressure difference, that means a lot of gas exchange can happen. But if there is no much pressure difference, why is gas exchange happening? Only if gas exchange happens, only if there is a greater pressure difference, then the gas exchange will happen, diffusion will happen. I hope you understand. So this is all about diffusion. Now we have to know when some pathological conditions. So see, when is the area decreased? Area decreases means diffusion decreases, right? In emphysema, we know emphysema. Emphysema, what is emphysema? I'll teach you every disorders, every pathological conditions in detail. But here let's say emphysema is something that it is caused by two factors. One is smoking, one is alpha-1 antitrypsin, right? Antitrypsin. What is it doing? It is destroying the alveoli. Actually, that's what you need to understand. It is, it is destroying the alveoli. That means we said alveoli is something that provides area. So if alveoli destruction happens, the area is reduced. That means emphysema decreases the area. That means diffusion is decreased. Understood? And when is the thickness increased to decrease the diffusion? To decrease diffusion, we have to increase the thickness. When is that happening? In fibrosis. Fibrosis, we know that thickness will increase. So therefore, the diffusion will be decreased. So there are two conditions which we have mentioned here. And now we are talking about gas exchange of different gases. Oxygen, N2O, carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. Let's check into that. So we have learned about diffusion, right? Exchange of gases. Here it is partial pressure, and here it is length along capillaries. Length along capillaries. This is partial pressure. So there is alveoli, there is blood vessel. We have oxygen, we have N2O, We have carbon dioxide, we have carbon monoxide. Let's check into that. If you are considering N2, it starts from here, increases and reach to a place. Okay? To what place? To PA. What is P capital A? Alveolar partial pressure. So we know that if we are increasing the blood supply, then what will happen? There will be more diffusion, more gas exchange of nitric oxide. So initially it was what? It was partial pressure, arterial partial pressure of N2O here represented. What all this thing? So arterial pressure of N2O will increase, and at last it will be equal to alveolar partial pressure of N2O. So obviously only this much, partial pressure inside the alveoli will be transferred to the blood vessels, right? So if we are, that happens when we are increasing the blood supply. So basically all the gas exchange will be depending upon two factors actually. So there is two things that contribute to the gas exchange. One is perfusion. If we are increasing the perfusion, then gas exchange should be there. Other thing is diffusion. So in N2O, we know that if we are increasing the perfusion, there will be more gas exchange. Understood? But in oxygen, there is a small change that we know already. There is some arterial pressure of oxygen when we are, before even entering into the alveoli, we have some partial pressure of oxygen, arterial or partial pressure of oxygen. That means it starts from here, and it will reach a same value. What was that? The alveolar partial pressure of oxygen. That will be equal to PaO2 after giving enough perfusion to that area. That alveolar partial pressure of oxygen will be equal to or arteriolar partial pressure of oxygen will be equal to alveolar partial pressure of oxygen, because that is given it is exchanged to the blood vessel. That happens. So this is oxygen's curve. Now let's check into carbon monoxide. So both oxygen and N2O is what? It is perfusion limited. Understood? Now we are checking into carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide, the graph is something like this. So what is this denotes? This is carbon monoxide's graph. Why like this? So the thing is that it is diffusion limited. Diffusion depends on different criteria: area, thickness, pressure exchange, pressure difference, right? So carbon monoxide is actually dependent on diffusion. Therefore, if it is diffusion limited, carbon monoxide cannot reach as same concentration as the alveolar partial pressure. The partial pressure of carbon monoxide cannot reach same as the alveolar partial pressure. That's why it's very decreased, right? It's not reaching there. So we have studied diffusion limited. One thing is there, that is carbon monoxide. One more thing is there, that is oxygen. In some conditions, oxygen is also diffusion limited. Then the graph will not be like this. The graph will be like this. See? Same way. Because carbon monoxide is not able to reach the alveolar partial pressure. In the same way, oxygen is not able to reach the alveolar partial pressure. Understood? Because it becomes diffusion limited. When is this condition happening? When there is some pathological conditions like emphysema, fibrosis or anything. So some pathological condition is there not allowing this oxygen to reach into the alveolar partial pressure, because it becomes diffusion limited. I hope you understand. Now we are talking about hypertension. But before that, we have to know DLCO, diffusion capacity of lungs, is being measured by carbon monoxide. There is a method called DLCO. What is it? DLCO. What is this thing? We know diffusion limited is what? It is carbon monoxide, right? Carbon monoxide is poisonous. So what do we do? To calculate, we need to calculate what is the diffusion capacity of the lung. How much air, how much gas can be transferred, through diffusion, exchanged through diffusion. That's what we need to calculate. So as to measure what is, if there is any interstitial lung disease, we can measure it through this DLCO. We learned that about in the pathological session. We'll be dealing with the DLCO further, but let's get some basics. Here, diffusion is diffusion limitation is shown by carbon monoxide. We know that thing, and sometimes it is also shown by oxygen. But if there is some kind of problems like emphysema, fibrosis, or something like that. So we need to use carbon monoxide, but we need to use non-dangerous carbon monoxide. Non-dangerous. Okay. Non-dangerous carbon monoxide is used, and we are measuring. We are giving certain amount of carbon monoxide, and we are measuring how much is being exhaled. The partial pressure of carbon monoxide that is found in the exhaled air, we are measuring that. So we will know how much is being taken, right? Minus the previous one, the last one, we will know how much is being taken. So mostly if it is 75% to 140%, then it is normal. Then the lung has perfect or normal diffusion. But if it is less than 40%, if we are giving 100 and 75 is going out, that means only 25 is taken by our lungs. That means DLCO is very less. That means there is diffusion is very less. So there is some problem to diffusion. So that means it is severe disease, like interstitial lung disease, right, or emphysema. So this denotes some severe disease if DLCO is less than 40. This is all about DLCO that I need to talk to you right now. So thank you guys for listening. We have learned pulmonary vascular circulation, and in the next chapter we'll be dealing with pulmonary hypertension along with hypoxia. I hope all of you guys are listening and understanding what I'm trying to teach. If there is any queries, if there is any mistakes from my part, please do inform me in my Instagram ID. I'm putting down that in the description box along with my WhatsApp number. So good luck guys. Bye.